Yes, working. Ha. Jai. So today is a very auspicious day. Just I will change my view 1 second. Yes. It is the appearance day of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami and disappearance day of Srila Ramacandra Kaviraj. And also today I received from India this new printing of the book. It is a smaller size than the previous one. So on today's auspicious day I will read from this new one about the associates of Mahaprabhu. The paper is thinner than the in the previous version, and they made it in less size. Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami. I did show already. 1 second. Again, I'm showing. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Ananga Manjari Yasit Sadhya Gopala Bhattaka Bhatta Goswaminam Kechit Ahu Shri Guna Manjari. She who was formerly Ananga Manjari has appeared to enrich Mahaprabhu's pastimes as Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Some say that Gopal Bhatta is actually Guna Manjari, Gaur Ganodesh Deepika. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami appeared in 1500, though according to some authorities he appeared in 1503 as the son of Venkata Bhatta in the town of Sri Rangam in South India. Their residence was in a village not far from Sri Rangam called Belgundi on the banks of river Kaveri. According to Bhakti Ratnakar, Mahaprabhu gave Gopal Bhatta a dream vision through which he could witness all of his Navadip pastimes. Though Gopal Bhatta Goswami was an eternal associate of Krishna, he appeared in a faraway place in order to make a special contribution to Lord Gauranga's pastimes. Thus, even though he was living too far away to know anything about the Lord directly, he was still able to know long before he met the Lord in person that he had appeared and taken sannyas. One time from our god sister I heard, she said, "Oh, I'm so unfortunate. I came later. I could never see Gurudev dancing and singing. I'm very unfortunate." But I told her, no. Gurudev now he can show you that he's eternal. He's personal associate of Mahaprabhu. He's always doing chanting and dancing. So if you will become eligible, then you can get that darshan. Nothing is lost. Gurudev is not lost. But we have to be eligible. One time Gurudev also told, one devotee asked him that I cannot get the Vapu Seva of my Guru because he already disappeared. Then Gurudev said, no, if you are eligible, your Gurudev can appear also at any time. Like Rupa Sanatan appeared to Narottam Thakur, although they already disappeared. But we need eligibility. So if we are sincere and doing bhajan and get pure heart, then in that pure heart, Gurudev can show you in dream, also can show you his pastimes of Sankirtan. There is no any obstacle to that. Srila Sridhar Maharaj also sometimes he observed Mahaprabhu doing kirtan in that place. Others could not see, but he could see. So we need eligibility, but nothing is lost. So here we see he was not there in Navadip, but Mahaprabhu showed him all Lila, what he did in Navadip. And Vrindavan Das Thakur also, he appeared after Mahaprabhu, but he wrote Chaitanya Bhagavat with all the Leelas of Mahaprabhu. How? He said, by the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, everything is revealed in my heart. That is authorized biography. Gopal Bhatta did not particularly like the Lord's appearance as a sannyasi. This austere form distressed Gopal Bhatta, who was thus crying alone when the Lord appeared to him and gave him this vision of his pastimes in Navadip. He then took Gopal Bhatta on his lap and drenched him with tears. The Lord then embraced Gopal Bhatta and drenched him with his tears. He then told Gopal to keep all these revelations a secret. Gopal Bhatta's mind was absorbed in a state of intense joy. Bhakti Ratnakar. In 1510, Mahaprabhu made his auspicious entrance to the pilgrimage city of Sri Rangam. He was invited by Venkata Bhatta, a Vaishnava of the Sri Sampradaya, to spend the 4 months of the Chaturmasya in his house. Knowing him to be a strict Vaishnava, Mahaprabhu accepted his invitation. In fact, the Lord's pastime of coming to Sri Rangam and staying at Venkata Bhatta's home was to give his mercy to Gopal Bhatta and his family, for the Lord knew that Gopal Bhatta, his eternal companion, had appeared there. At this time, Gopal Bhatta was still a young boy. He was fortunate enough to be able to serve the Lord by massaging his feet. Even though he was satisfied with Venkata Bhatta and his family's service, the Lord observed that Venkata Bhatta had an element of pride in his object of worship. He believed that his worshipable deity, Lakshmi Narayan, was the supreme worshipable object, that Narayan was the source of all our other avatars, including Krishna, Ram, and Nrsimha. His reasoning was that Narayan is never born, while Krishna and Rama take birth in the world. He thus taught Mahaprabhu worships Krishna, the avatar of Narayan, while we worship Narayan, the source of all avatars. But this is not a right consideration. There is some mundane tinge here, because Krishna's birth in this world is Leela. That is his Leela. It is not, Narayan is not born and Krishna is born, so he must be coming from him. Krishna must be coming from Narayan because he is born. But actually all are eternal, and Krishna is taking birth, that is his Leela, to give service to devotees in parental affection. As Madhusudan, means Krishna, is the destroyer of false pride, Mahaprabhu finally decided one day, because when one has full realization, then there is no any possibility of having pride, false pride, impossible. And if someone has any kind of pride, it means his conception is not yet fully pure, revelation, not yet fully pure. As Madhusudan is the destroyer of false pride, Mahaprabhu finally decided one day that he would do so for Venkata Bhatta. He asked him in a mild, humored, witty tone, Venkata Bhatta, I hear that no one is equal in opulence to your Lord Narayan. The same is true for your worshipable goddess Lakshmi Devi. On the other hand, my object, the object of my worship, Krishna, has no opulence of any kind. This is also from mundane perspective, we may see like that. So he started in this way. He wears garlands of wild forest flowers and uses peacock feathers for decoration. He is the son of Nanda Gopal, cowherd, and spends his day grazing the cows with the other cowherd boys. My worshipable goddesses, the gopis, are also nothing but poor cowherd girls. I wonder, therefore, why your worshipable Lakshmi Devi came to Vrindavan to perform austerities in the hope of gaining Krishna's company in the rasa dance. Venkatabhata immediately answered, what is wrong with that? Radha's beloved Krishna is not different from Lakshmi Devi's husband Narayan. Siddhantatasva Veda Pishrisha Krishna Swarupayo Rasanot Krishyate Krishna Rupamesha Rasa Stiti. Though according to theological doctrine, Krishna and the husband of Lakshmi are identical in essence, the form of Krishna is superior when analyzed from the point of view of divine sentiment. Since the divine sentiment in Krishna is superior, there is no fault if Lakshmi Devi chooses to seek his association and performs austerities to that end. He said they are same person. And Mahaprabhu now he's telling, Mahaprabhu answered, I am not saying that there is any fault. I agree that ontologically Krishna and Narayan are identical. The difference between them is based on the variety of rasa. When the Lord performs pastimes of opulence, he is Narayan. When he performs pastimes of sweetness, he is Krishna. She, who is Radha in Krishna's pastimes, is Lakshmi Devi in the pastimes of Narayan. Thus, when Lakshmi Devi performs austerities to have the association of Krishna, there is no question of her breaking her vows of fidelity to her husband. I mean, she did not become unchaste, like she's wife of Narayan, but now she's after another man, Krishna. So there is problem. Venkatavata understood. Mahaprabhu maybe is thinking in this way, that why she did this. Then he said, no, they are not, there is no fault. They are not different persons. It is in Shastra. So there is no breaking of her fidelity or chastity. Thus, she went to perform these austerities in Vrindavan. Yeah, that is okay. But I have another question for you. Why, even after trying so hard through such penances, etc., to enter Krishna's Rasa Lila, was Lakshmi Devi still unable to do so? Venkatabhata was terribly distressed at being unable to give the Lord an answer. Mahaprabhu observed his distress and tried to pacify him by saying, you yourself said that Narayan and Krishna are identical ontologically, but that the superiority of Krishna is due to the excellence in rasas. Narayan is involved in 2.5 of the 5 principal rasas, whereas in Krishna there is a complete manifestation of all 12 rasas. The 5 principal and 7 secondary sentiments. In Narayan there is Shanta, Dasya and half Sakya. Only Sakya in awe and reverence, not intimate. These 2 half. But with Krishna all 5 and 7 secondary also, 12. Since Narayan's pastime is primarily one of opulence and majesty, his principal devotee is Lakshmi Devi, who also worships him in the appropriate mood of awe and reverence. The same Lakshmi Devi is Radhika in order to heighten the experience of conjugal love. Unless one follows in the footsteps of Radha and her expansions, the gopis, who are the repositories of the transcendental divine love, it is impossible to relish Krishna's sweet qualities. Lakshmi Devi, however, did not follow in the gopis' footsteps, but continued to perform her austerities in the mood of awe and reverence. As a result, she repeatedly found herself in the company of Narayan and never in that of Krishna. By way of contrast, the Shrutis followed the gopis in the Raga Marg, and so were ultimately able to achieve Krishna's service in that mood. As long as one continues to think of Krishna in majestic terms as Lord and Controller, one cannot possibly worship in the spirit of Raganuga Bhakti. Mahaprabhu said, Krishna has one extraordinary characteristic. By his sweetness, he attracts the minds of the entire world. By taking on the mood of the Braja Gopis, one can attain to his lotus feet. The people of Braja have no idea that Krishna is the Lord and Controller. Some think of him as their son and even tie him to a mortar, while others take him to be their friend and climb on his shoulders. The people of Braja only know him as the son of Nanda, whereas in the attitude of awe and reverence, the devotee does not have a concept of such a relationship with him. One who takes the attitude of a resident of Braja will attain Krishna as the son of the king of Braja in Vrindavan. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, he told, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj went all over the world to tell to people, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He went. But I am going all over the world to tell that Krishna is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is your friend. He is your beloved. He is your son. Both are correct. Only the thing is one after another. First, one has to become eligible, and then, by the grace of Brajavasi, one will get that bhav to enter into Raga Marg. But that is what Mahaprabhu came to give to jivas. But there is gradual procedure to attain that. So first we have to understand that we are not the enjoyers of this world, but we are eternal servants of eternal Supreme Lord. Then when we purify our heart and get the grace of Brajavasi, then we can get that supreme type of love where this knowledge that he's got is totally not there. Only your sweet, intimate, delightful relation. But if one will jump too soon, then he may have material conception of what is that. Because outwardly, Braja Lila looks like some human thing, but it is not. So one has to go through all the steps and attain that. When the gopis, the objects of my worship, were abandoned by Krishna in the rasa dance, they began to cry in the intensity of their distress at not seeing him. Krishna came to them in the form of Narayan, but the gopis simply paid their obeisances and moved on in search of Krishna, showing absolutely no interest in him as a lover. When Radharani stood before the disguised Krishna, however, he could not maintain the four-armed form, but once again appeared in his form as the holder of the flute. Such is the power of Radharani's love. Jai Shri Mati Radharani ki Jai. Nandanandan Krishna is the avatari, or source of all avatars. Narayan, Ram, Nrishinga, etc. are all his avatars and expansions. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only the Personality of Godhead, the source of all other divinities, is eligible to be designated Swayam Bhagavan, or the primeval Lord. Ete Chanksha Kalah Pungsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Bekulam Lokam Mridayanti Juga Juga. All of the previously mentioned forms of the Lord are either plenary expansions or partial expansions of plenary expansions, but Krishna alone is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear in every age to protect the saints whenever the enemies of the gods disturb them. From Srimad Bhagavatam. Through the power of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's merciful association, Venkata Bhatta, his brother Prabodhananda Saraswati, his son Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and all the other members of his family were inspired to give up the worship of Lakshmi Narayan and became engaged in the exclusive devotional service of Radha and Krishna. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami took initiation from his uncle Tridandi Jati, Srimad Prabodhananda Saraswati. Proof of this is found in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. But we see in the case of Murari Gupta, Mahaprabhu told him, you worship, but he said, no, I cannot give up the service of Ram. Why? Because that is his eternal rasa, already fixed there. So, Mahaprabhu could not convert him and also did not want to convert. That was only to show that one must attain to such exclusive one-pointedness. But here it was possible because that was not pure conception yet and not pure rasa yet, because there was that pride and some apasiddhanta thinking, pride. So by Mahaprabhu's grace, they cleared that thing and also they start to worship Radha Krishna. Back there, and there was another one, Ramacandra devotee there in South India also. Mahaprabhu also did not convert him to Radha Krishna. He approved, yes, it's very good, Ram. So it depends on the devotee, how it is. Or Lakshmi Devi also, she cannot be converted. Radharani cannot be converted. When Krishna came as Narayan, the other gopis, they bowed down and they went to search for Krishna. They could not be converted. But only Radharani could make this, that Krishna could not hold his Narayan form. So her love is so powerful that Krishna is controlled by her. Bhakter vilasam shchinute prabodhanandasya shishyo bhagavat priyasya Gopala Bhatta Raghunatha dasam santoshayan rupa sanatanam cha. I, Gopal Bhatta, the disciple of Prabodhananda Saraswati, who is dear to the Lord, have compiled these most essential and glorious devotional doctrines to satisfy Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami. Hari Bhakti Vilas. Gopal Bhatta's parents were very fortunate, for they surrendered themselves, life and soul, to the feet of Lord Chaitanya. They ordered their son to go to Vrindavan before they left this world, absorbed in meditating on the Lord. Gopal Bhatta Goswami traveled directly to Vrindavan, where he met with Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Bhakti Ratnakara. When Gopal Bhatta Goswami arrived in Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami wrote to Mahaprabhu to tell him, the Lord was overjoyed and immediately wrote back, telling them to affectionately take care of him, as though he were their own younger brother. Srila Sanatan Goswami compiled the Hari Bhakti Vilas and published it in Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami's name. Rupa Goswami considered Gopal Bhatta to be as dear to him as his own life and engaged him in the worship of the Radharaman deity. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami became one of the 6 Goswamis, but he always kept an attitude of meekness and humility. Thus, when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami approached him for permission to write Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, he granted it, but under the condition that he not write about him. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami could not go against the order of Gopal Bhatta and thus did nothing more than mention his name. Sri Jiva Goswami writes in the introduction to the Sat Sandarbha that he wrote it on the basis of an earlier text by Gopal Bhatta. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami also wrote a book called the Sat Kriya Sar Deepika, Light on the Essential Sacraments for the Vaishnavas, like birth ceremony, marriage ceremony, for sannyas, all this, in relation to worship of Krishna, not demigods. Thus, his contribution to Gauriya Vaishnava literature was in editing the Hari Bhakti Vilas, preparing the notes for Jiva Goswami's Sat Sandarbha, and in compiling the Sat Kriya Sar Deepika. He also gave great joy to the community of devotees by writing a commentary on Bilva Mangal Thakur's Krishna Karnamrita. Amongst his disciples were Srinivasacharya and Sri Gopinath Pujari. The following story is told about Gopinath Pujari becoming Gopal Bhatta's disciple. One day, Gopal Bhatta went to visit the town of Saharanpur, not far from Haridwar. On that occasion, a simple, devoted Brahmana engaged in his service in a most unpretentious manner. He had no children, but desired to have a son. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami knew the desire of the Brahmana and blessed him that he would have a devotionally minded male child. Bona fide Guru or Vaishnava pure devotee, they know what is in anyone's heart or mind. They know. Without no need for you to tell him, I have this desire. Oh, Gurudev already knows. But he is not revealing always, so as not to discourage his disciple, that he will become afraid and run away. Gurudev told that intentionally Guru is not telling everything. But if necessary, if the disciple is proud, then Gurudev will make some arrangement to cut that. The Brahmana promised Gopal Bhatta that he would give him his first son to be his servant and disciple. This son was Gopinath Pujari. It is said that Mahaprabhu had such affection for Gopal Bhatta that he sent him his own belt and copin, as well as a wooden seat which he had used. These items are still worshipped in the Radharaman temple by the current sevaks. This Gopinath Pujari was the first one to manage the worship of Radharaman after Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and he got married, and then that family tradition of Radharaman sevaks is coming from him, Gopinath Pujari, not from Gopal Bhatta. He had no any son. When Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami was visiting the pilgrimage centers of northern India, he found the Shalagram Shila on the banks of the Gandaki river. He took the Shalagram Shila as Brajendra Nandan Krishna himself and worshipped him. One day he thought that if his Shalagram Shila were a deity, he could dress and decorate the Lord beautifully. On the very next day he found that the Shalagram Shila had transformed into the Sri Radharaman deity to fulfill the wish of his devotee. Bol Sri Radharaman Jiv Ki Jai. This deity stands alone without any form of Radha standing by his side. Instead, as a symbol of Radharani, a silver crown is placed on his left side. The story is also told in the following way. It is said that Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami used to daily worship 12 Shalagramas. He developed a desire to serve the Lord in the form of a deity, thinking that in this way he would be able to worship him in a much better way. And again, the Lord within his heart knew his feelings. No need to tell. They know. And through a rich merchant, had many beautiful items used in the worship of the deity, such as ornaments and clothes, sent to him. Gopal Bhatta Goswami began to worry that all these beautiful objects could not be used properly unless the shalagramas took a deity form. That night, he put the shalagramas to rest, and in the morning he saw that one of them had been transformed into the Sri Radharaman deity. Bol Sri Radharaman Lal Ki Jai. When Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami heard that Krishna had so mercifully appeared to Gopal Bhatta, they immediately came with the other devotees for darshan, and when they saw him, they were ecstatic with love. The annual festival commemorating Radharaman's appearance, when he is bathed publicly, takes place on the full moon day of Vaishak. The Radharaman temple is considered one of the most important in Vrindavan. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami ended his earthly pastimes on the Krishna Panchami of Ashar in 1507 of the Shaka, means 1586, our counting. His Samadhi temple is behind the current Radharaman temple. By reading Srinivasa Acharya's hymn to the six Goswamis, Shara Goswami Ashtakam, we can understand their glories. So on today's appearance day of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, I am remembering his Samadhi Mandir there. We go there during Parikrama, bow down to him and pray for his causeless mercy. Shankya Purvaka Nama Gana Natibhi Kalavasani Krito Nidra Hara Vihara Kadi Vijito Chatanta Dino Chajor. Radha Krishna Gunosmriter Madhurim Samohito Madhurim Manandena Samohito Bande Rupa Sanatana or Abujago Shri Jiva Gopalako. I worship six Goswamis. How they did bhajan? They chanted fixed number of Harinam daily on Mala. But all other time the Harinam is going on. Shankya Purva Kanama and they sang songs in a regulated manner, like we are doing in Mat. Guru, then Panchtattva, Vaishnava Bandhana. They did not do this system, but in a regulated manner they were doing Kirtan also, like in our Mat, morning and evening. Shankya Purva Kanama Gana Nativi, and offering obeisances in a regulated manner. This much Vaishnavas daily I will remember, I will say their Jai, and I will bow down to them. Not that they daily met 1,000 Vaishnavas or 2,000 Vaishnavas and did Dandavat, but they remembered. I also used to do this practice for some time, because one Vaishnav, he told me, and Gurudev approved, but I was doing 25, not 2,000. Means you remember one Vaishnava in your mind, like, and you say Jai, like Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. And then you bow down, full dandavat to him. And then you stand up, and again, next Vaishnava you remember, and say Jai, and bow down, like this, doing that full dandavat. But they did 2,000. And that is very potent practice. You will get their grace if you do this. Shankya Purva Kanama Gana Nativi Kalavasani Krito. Whole day and night they were doing. Nidra Hara Vihara Kaji Vijito. They conquered sleep and eating and all this. Radha Krishna Gunosmriti Madhurim Samohit. They were charmed by the remembrance of these qualities of Radha Krishna, sweet qualities of Radha Krishna, all time. And I worship them. Then today is also Ramacandra Kaviraj. He is a disciple of Srinivasacharya. His disappearance day. Svardunyastira bhumo sarajani nagare gaura bhupadi patrat brahmanyad vishnu bhaktat api suparichitat Shri Chiranjeev Senat yah Shri Ramendu nama samajani parama Shri Sunanda bhidhayam soyam Shriman Narake sahi kavinripati samyak asit abhinna. Ramacandra, a great devotee with an attractive form, was born in the town of Sarajani on the banks of the Ganges as the son of Sunanda and Chiranjeev Sen, a well-known minister of the king of Gauda, a devotee of the Brahmanas and Vishnu. Ramacandra was not in any way different from Narottam Das Thakur, the king amongst the poets. This from Bhakti Ratnakara. Chiranjeev Sen was a resident of Srikanda. His wife's name was Sunanda. They had two virtuous sons. The elder was Ramacandra, the younger Govinda. Ramacandra was a disciple of Srinivasacharya and received the title Kaviraj. His Siddha name was Karuna Manjari from Gauriya Vaishnava Abhidan. Govinda, his brother younger, is also Kaviraj. We are singing that song. Bhaja Hure Mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Bindu. He wrote on his deathbed just before he disappeared that Govinda Dasaya Vilasare. That last verse is Shravana Kirtana, Smarana Bandhana, that, and then Govinda Dasa Avilas. I always desire only this, to engage myself fully for the service of Krishna. Ramacandra Kaviraj was born in a Vaidya family, Ayurvedic doctors. After the death of his father, he went to live in Kumarnagar with his maternal grandfather, Damodar Kaviraj, who was a disciple of Narahari Sarkar. Later, he went to live with his younger brother Govinda Kaviraj in the village of Telia Budari in the Murshidabad district. This place has the distinction of being his Shripad home. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur, however, mentioned that Ramacandra Kaviraj Shripad is in Kumarnagar. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur has written that Ramacandra Kaviraj was a lifelong renunciate and never married. Haridas Das, on the other hand, writes in his Gauriya Vaishnava Abhidan that Ramacandra did get married, but never lived with his wife. Srinivasacharya saw Ramacandra as a groom and said a few words to him about the temporary nature of material life, thus awakening within him an indifference to worldly life, such that he never took up the duties of a householder life. This story has been taken from a book which is not accepted as authoritative by everyone. The following quote is taken from there, but still the point is good. That is why Gurudev included. Srinivas Acharya said, "Just look at how much enthusiasm everyone has for this wedding. They are spending so much money, and for what? Just to purchase illusion and quarrel. They don't know that Maya has placed a noose around their neck, and so they take great interest in the auspicious invocatory rituals. People celebrate weddings thinking that they are auspicious when they are not, and that they have been fulfilled when they have not." The point is correct. Whether it really happened or not, we don't know. But the point is, anyway, it is good. Yes, I'm enjoyer and like this. That is all illusion. And we think I will be happy, but just the opposite you get. You purchase illusion and quarrel. Quarrel will come, definitely, because of unfulfilled desires. They cannot be fulfilled by material means. So quarrel is next step. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj said, what is the definition of enjoyment? Suffering next moment is the definition of enjoyment. When you enjoy, exploit, then surely next moment there will be reaction. Srinivas Acharya was to overcome with affection for Ramacandra that he gave him the Diksha mantra and engaged him as his personal servant. He had unparalleled devotion to his guru and would follow his guru's words without any kind of reservation. But if one marries for dharma purpose, then that is different thing. To follow either varna, ashram, dharma together with wife, and or to accept dharma patni or dharma pati, to follow devotional life, to assist each other in devotion to Krishna, that is also okay. But not marriage for sense gratification purpose. That is not good. Though Bir Hambir became Srinivas Acharya's disciple, Ramacandra Kaviraj acted as his Shiksha Guru. Ramacandra Kaviraj also visited Vrindavan, where he associated with Jiva Goswami and the other Vaishnavas, receiving their blessings. They were very pleased to hear his poetry, so much so that Jiva Goswami gave him the Kaviraj title. He was thus one of the 8 Kavirajas. He was Narottam Thakur's favorite companion for preaching activities and spiritual association. You know that king who stole the books, thinking it is big money, but anyhow, just by seeing those books, he got Sukriti and he got Sadhu Sangha. He became disciple of Srinivas Acharya, but Ramacandra Kaviraj, disciple of Srinivas Acharya, became their Shiksha Guru. He was coming there to that place to give them guidance and everything. Gurudev said, like one good student in school of a teacher or son of a teacher who also has all knowledge, he can also teach others on his behalf, and because he has all knowledge. Paramananda Bhattacharya, an ocean of love, Jiva Goswami and other residents of Braja listened to Ramacandra recite his own poetic composition, and they joyfully awarded him the title of Kaviraj. Ramacandra Kaviraj is full of all virtues and is Narottam Das's second self. Bhakti Ratnakar. Kangsari Sen, Rama Sen, Ramacandra Kaviraj and the 3 Kavirajas, Govinda, Sri Ranga and Mukunda, are Nityananda Prabhu's branches. Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ramacandra wrote several books including Smaran Chamatkar, Smaran Darpan, Siddhanta Chandrika and Srinivas Acharya Jivon Rachit. That I will have to check if it is mistake or not. Srinivas Acharya Jivon, I think it should be Charit, not Rachit, Charit. But I will have to check. Maybe typing mistake. Narahari Chakraborty has written an extensive description of Ramacandra and his visit to Vrindavan in the 9th wave of his Bhakti Ratnakar. Everyone would get attracted by his unblemished, divinely effulgent form. When Ramacandra visited the Radha Damodar temple with Jiva Goswami and saw the deities and Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, he experienced ecstatic transformations that were a source of amazement to all. Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Lokanath Goswami, and Bhugarbha Goswami gave him their blessings. He went to bath in Radha Kunda and Shama Kunda and met Raghunath Das Goswami there. When he paid obeisances to Das Goswami, The Venerable Saint affectionately embraced him and felt ecstasy. Srila Narottam Thakur has prayed for the association of Ramacandra Kaviraj in his Prarthana. Daya koro Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Ramchandra Sangamage Narottama Das. Please be merciful, Srinivas Acharya Prabhu. Narottam Das begs for Ramachandra's association. Yo Shashvat Bhagavat Parayana Paro Sangsara Parayano Samyak Sattvata Tantra Vada Paramo Nishesha Siddhanta Go Shashvat Bhakti Rasa Pradana Rasiko Pashanda Hrin Mandalo Anyonya Priya Tab Harena Jugali Bhuto Imo Tau Numa. I pay my obeisances to Narottama and Ramachandra Prabhus, who are always fond of dedication towards devotion to the Supreme Lord, who help people to cross over the ocean of material life, who know all the scriptures completely and have understood all the transcendental doctrines, who are the most generous with the distribution of Bhakti Rasa, who won the hearts of the atheists, and who are constantly attached to each other's affectionate company. Sangita Madhavanatha quoted in Bhakti Ratnakar. Ramacandra Kaviraj's disappearance day is the Krishna Tritiya in the month of Magh. He disappeared in Vrindavan after the disappearance of Srinivas Acharya. I am going down to Ramacandra Kaviraj and praying his causeless mercy. So as I told, tomorrow I will remember Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Gosai Maharaj. There are so many calendars and they are having different calculations for here and for India, but today is this day, and our mat for India has Jayadev Goswami on Sunday, so on the day between is his appearance day. They will also, I will observe on that day. In Vienna, their temple here, they are also observing tomorrow, Vyasa Puja. But in India, they are observing on 23rd, on Sunday. But they're having, in their mat, they're having Jayadev Goswami's disappearance on Monday, not Sunday. That is why I approximately thought that I should observe tomorrow, because on our month's calendar it is not mentioned, but Jayadev Goswami is on Sunday. But anyhow, Gurudev told we should remember Vaishnavas, not only on their disappearance and appearance daily, but at least on those days. So we should remember. So tomorrow we can hear about him, and if someone of you will want to speak, also we can remember on Sunday. That is no any problem. That is very good. So just to inform, already I informed yesterday that tomorrow we will have here. Haribol.